All right, so I'm finally starting to understand how to make stretchy bones. So I'm just gonna try to show a really quick setup for this. So I just have this to test out. It's, just kind of like a stick figure shaped mesh. I'll use that to, show it deforming and stuff. But first we're just gonna add an armature, just a single bone. I am going to turn this over to a B bone because this lets us actually scale them. So you can press F3 to search and then search for B bone like this. You can see scale B bone. I have mine in the quick favorites. You can just right click and add it to your quick favorites if it's not already there, because I don't know if there's actually a shortcut for that. But this is just going to be our deforming bones. So I'll try to label everything properly. I'll scale this down to be pretty skinny, and I'll call this deform. Then I'll subdivide it. So we're gonna have 2 bones right here total. I'm just going to clear the parents, and then I will add a new bone collection. This is just going to be for controllers. They're not going to deform. They're just for these bones to interact with. So I will duplicate these, make sure that they are assigned to this collection and that they're not in this collection, so I'll remove them from that one. And then make sure you have individual origins right here. Then you can scale them down like that. So these are going to be quite a bit smaller, and I will scale the B bones up. So, now we can select both pretty easily. We don't want these to deform, so come over here to the bone properties, whatever this is, and hold Alt and press this. That will make sure that when you parent with automatic weights, that these are not going to deform anything. Okay, so we want a third controller at the top to control this bone right here. So I'll just duplicate this, bring it up, and because it's just like a meter upward, we should be able to snap it. So duplicate that with Shift D, bring it up to the top right there. And now I think we can just go into pose mode. So go into pose mode up here. And basically what we're going to do is make the deforming bones stretch to these ones. So we can select this and then select the deforming bone. So when you're doing this, make sure you always select the bone that you last selected is the one that the modifier or the constraint is going to be on. So if I want the constraint to be on this bone right here, select this bone and then this bone last, and then Shift Control C, and then stretch to. That will make it so that this bone is stretching towards this bone right here. And you can tell that this has the constraint on it because it's green, and you can see it has a stretch to constraint, and it's already set up. It just makes it, if you use Shift Control C, it just makes it so you don't have to input these fields right here. Otherwise you would have to, name these properly and then know which bone you're actually selecting. But you can see the name of the bones up here, so it makes it a little easier. Sometimes I do things really fast and I just reference the bones up here without naming them, keep it kind of messy. So we're going to do the same thing here. So for this bone right here, so select this bone, then this bone right here, Shift Control C, stretch to. So now that bone is stretching towards this one also, but you can see it's kind of disconnected. So we also want this bone to copy the location of this bone right here. I believe we could probably also parent it. Let's give it a try. Just in edit mode, I'll select this bone, Shift select that one, Control P, and keep offset. Now let's see if this messes anything up. That seems to work. So I guess you can do that also. I haven't thought about the implications of what that could do to your rig in the future, but I'm trying to keep this simple so you understand how to set something up. So we would also want to do that for this right here. So I guess in edit mode, select this, Shift select this, Control P, not that, Control P, keep offset. And now in pose mode, I should be able to move this, and you can see it's stretching and squashing like that. It's actually getting wider as it gets shorter. And the same with these ones. So I believe this is all working. We should be able to just turn this on. And because I know that only the deforming bones are set to deform in here, it should parent up nicely. I'll actually turn on in front just so we can see everything. So let's go back into object mode, select this, shift select the rig, control P, parent with automatic weights. Now we can go back into pose mode and we can see that this is actually squashing like that, which is pretty cool. You know, it's pretty fun. You can also turn these into bendy bones. That's what B bone stands for, I believe. And that's how you can actually see how many different segments you have. So you can do that by going over to bone properties again. Under bendy bones, you have these segments right here. And when you turn them up, you can actually see the segments change over here. So if you want to do this for both bones, select both bones right here. And then you can type in the number you want. I'll just do 10 and hold Alt and press Enter. And now both of these should change. So now instead of having 10 different bones, it's just one bone, but it will like, you know, get more curvy. But because these aren't actually parented to each other, we have to set some stuff up. That's another thing that I didn't test really to see if like what happens when you parent these together. Let's just try that. Because right now we have this parented to this bone right here, so it will kind of mess that up. I'm not going to do that. It's kind of nice. This is also a way to set up tweak bones. Say this is like just somebody's forearm, and you want there to be an extra bone in the middle so that you can like move it around in a more cartoony way to kind of like break the arm and make it squiggly if you want to kind of have some fake like smear frames or something like that. That's a way you could do it. So we'll keep it like this, but you can see when you select a bendy bone, we have these handle options at the bottom. Right now they're set to automatic. I believe the one that worked best for me was set to tangent. So again, select both of these with Shift, and then when you change this, hold Alt, and that will change it for both. So hold Alt, change that. Now this is when we have to set the bones up, I believe, because right now we're rotating these and nothing is changing. So we can select this, check the name of it. It's bone 002. So that's going to be the start handle in here. We can do bone 002. This one is 003. So pretty easy. We just set it up like that. I already know that this one's 003. So for the start handle on this one, 003, then this one's 004. Okay, so now we are actually getting some bendy bones in here, making it a little more squiggly. So now instead of it kind of just being straight like that and kinking, I can actually turn it on and off pretty easily. So instead of it just kinking at that point right there, you can turn it up to make it more round like that if you want some like rubber hose type movement for your arms or whatever. Yeah, make it more round. I think this is pretty fun. I already actually did this with another character, the same character, whatever. It's just like a stick figure, and set up some animation just to test it out. So I have like, you know, little squiggles, funny motion, and then like a sort of stretchy jump like that. So I'm sure there are better ways of like setting this up to get more control. And the way that I actually figured this out, there's a Pierrick Pico video talking about like different IK setups and stretchy bone setups and stuff like that. that one is all right. You know, it helped me understand a few things. But honestly, what helped me the most is just getting Rigify and taking it apart. So before I show any of that, this is the first thing that I made to try to understand it. So the idea here is I was trying to add some tweak bones also, which again is basically like, these are the bones that I set up for the character that you would expect to be there, I guess. This is just 4 segments. And tweak bones are kind of like if you split each of these bones in half so that you can move the section in between them, I guess. So that would be when you set up these deforming bones, they're all half the size so that there can be a spot in between them. And then this is where the tweak bones would actually go. So these are the bones that you would actually control right here. So you can, you know, make them all squiggly like that. And I also added damped track constraints to them. You can see they're rotating automatically. That's with a damped track constraint. So basically what is happening is this is just rotating to point at the next one. And that just makes it so you don't have to rotate it manually. And it makes it a little easier to use. And these also squash and stretch, as you can see. Yeah. Now what was I going to show? I guess I could show Rigify. Do I even have it installed? I do. Rigify, meta rig. We could do basic human. And then just, where is it? Rigify, generate rig. Okay, so now we have this rig in here, and this already has stretch bones set up. So basically what I did was I turned on these bones in here. They're all kind of hard to see. Let's see. But yeah, I was basically just taking things apart. You can see these are actually stretching. So this is the part that I took apart. I noticed these are the bones that when you're setting it up before you generate it, I think ORG or original, or I don't know what it stands for, probably original. These are the bones that you're actually placing down. So when it does tweak bones for you, it's basically just turning each of these bones into 2 bones and then giving you this controller so that you can move it around. And these are the bones, DEF. These are the actual deforming bones. So this is what's actually controlling your character in terms of like, these are the bones that move and make your character move. So you can actually see like how these are acting also. And then there are also these other little mechanism bones that just sit in between everything. Just to be kind of like intermediary bones. As you can see, like it's not actually moving. I think what these are doing is it's figuring out the placement for the tweak bones. So, you know, what you could do to do this is, I believe these have child of constraints. No, that one doesn't. Oh yeah. I think, yeah, it's copying the transform of the base of the bone, and then it's getting the influence of the second one. So you can like place it in the very center of the bone. That's actually a little easier to do now because you have these head and tail options, which probably didn't exist, you know, when they were actually setting this up. So a way you could do that is actually really easy. And I did it with this first thing. So let's just, I don't know how long this video is going to be. I'm just going off the cuff. Let's see, got to turn on collections. So yeah, these are the original bones right here. So you can see it's one long bone and then there's this one in between. And the way I'm putting it in the center, actually these are the tweak bones. The mechanism bones it's the one that I'm using to, I believe, like, yeah, the tweak bones are parented to the mechanism bones, and that's just basically for finding the center of the original bone right here. You definitely don't need to do this. I just thought it was kind of interesting to play around with. So basically what this is doing is it's using a copy location. Let's see. Yeah, it's using a copy location, but now we have this head and tail option. So you can say like, oh, do you want this to be at the bottom of the bone right there? Or do you want it to be at the top of the bone? Or do you want it to be right in the very center? And so instead of having multiple copy locations, changing the influence, I just have one, but I set it to be in the very center. So this is actually a little easier now compared to what I assume is the way that they used to have to do it in the past. This option wasn't always there. I don't know when they added it, but probably in the last few updates, because I noticed it wasn't there always. But yeah, so that's how you can find the center of a bone, and then you can place the tweak bone there by just parenting it to it. And then like I said, I have the damped track, so this is pointing to the next bone, and that's helping keep it a little rounder. So you could totally use this to give people like rubber hose style arms that can like do cool things, like kind of turn into like spirally shapes and things like that. If you're going for something, you want to make something look a little more like Cuphead or like Adventure Time or something like that, you can make squiggly arms. But yeah, bendy bones, tweak bones. I just figured I'd hop on, make something real quick to let everybody know things that I understand now. Took me a while to understand this. And if you have an IK bone, it already has options. Where would it be? Bendy bones relations, inverse kinematics. There's already this IK stretch option, but it doesn't work in the same way. It will just scale things up uniformly and just make your arms like really huge or whatever. So to kind of like counteract that with my current avatar rig, I'm actually just kind of scaling things more manually, which is like kind of annoying, I guess, to have it not automatic, but it's not that bad to have to do. I'll show you what I mean real quick. So yeah, I have the arms set up so that they have that IK stretch option turned on, but I think it's only set to it's set to something pretty low. I think you kind of have to set it really low, otherwise it works in a strange manner. So under inverse kinematics, yeah, I have these both set to 0.1. And as you can see, it's just making the arms super huge. So then what I do is I just scale this down. I believe, do I have this? Scale it on, how do I do this? No, I scale it up on, oh, it's because I have it set to global instead of local. Yeah, I just scale it up on the Y until it gets to a point where I can see that it's starting to bend. And this is the local Y-axis. So I basically just do that to make my arms stretchy right now, which is honestly a lot easier than setting up stretch bones and tweak bones. So if you're just looking for something like really quick and really dirty, but something that works if you know how to use it, you can still just use the IK stretch. Just set it to something really low. It'll eliminate some like leg popping that you kind of see when your leg straightens out completely. It will make this weird popping sort of motion. And if you have these set to stretch just a little bit, it kind of fixes that issue. And then if your leg or your arm or whatever is just too big, then you can just scale it on the local y-axis until it doesn't look like that. And that's kind of it. So that's it. I don't think I have anything else to say. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.